Hey guys, welcome back to Grover's Home. It's another day and we are packing again. It feels like a constant loop of thrifting, listing, and packing, and just keeps the little wheel going. So let's get into what sold in the last day or two and what we paid for and what it sold for, as well as how long it stayed on the market. That gives you kind of an idea of things that are good to pick, some things that aren't as great to pick. So first up, we have this vintage Hummel ornament. It's by Schmid, and it's like Hummel inspired or something like that. It's from 1977. It's a pretty cool one. I picked up a whole bunch of these, and I think I only paid $1 or $2 for them, so not bad. They only sell for like $9, $10. This one sold for $9. I think the most I've sold one for is like 11 something. So they're not a huge profit, but where I sell so many Christmas ornaments, I pick them up because it's what I do. All right, coffee mugs. So I will never discourage somebody from buying these. This is an LA Lakers one. It sold for $10. I picked it up for 75 cents. So still a good profit. These are like, were our bread and butter for our shop. It's kind of what got us started. We started picking them up and selling them and being able to make, like $10 profit off of, like, we paid $1 so for them at the most. And so that let us be able to start to get collateral to use in the business, to be able to start buying other things. So I won't ever really badmouth coffee mugs. There's not a huge profit margin in them. Sometimes you get some good ones. I still pick up if they're like a Magnolia Homes Joanna Gaines one, but I don't necessarily pick up coffee mugs that much anymore. We're still selling off our old ones. I'm not getting rid of them just because they will sell. They just sit a little longer sometimes. You have to get somebody that wants them. New ones sell better, obviously. There's certain Starbucks ones that sell, and then the Joanna Gaines Magnolia Home. But kind of beyond that, they have to be a little unique, and even being unique, they just sit around. We've had this coffee mug for over a year, so overall, it wouldn't be worth picking up again where we're at in our business. These ones are fun ones. These are Enesco. This is little, like, they're in a canoe and it says, "How do I love thee?" It's a vintage from 1995 and it's new old stock. So these were new ones. I picked up a whole bunch of new old stock Christmas ornaments from an estate sale. I think I paid like $1 a piece for them. It might have been $2 a piece where they were newer because I was buying all of them. And this one sold for $16.20 plus shipping. So not bad overall. I love Christmas ornaments. If I can get them as new ones, like especially new vintage ones, it's great. This is some Zaya leggings. So these are new without tags. I knew they were new because they have been given to me. And the person had gotten them, ripped the tags off, and then never wore them. So I put them new without tags. I think they were free to me. Somebody gave them to me. Didn't want them, but thought I could do something with them. So they sold for $15.39 plus shipping. So overall, great. Obviously, nothing into these. I'm just going to lint roller them where they're black before I throw them in the bag to make sure that they're clean. So this is a little Hawthorne Village Santa. I've already kind of pre-wrapped him, so he's hard to see. He was actually in a Christmas house. Opened it up and he was in there. He didn't belong to the house, so I pulled him out to sell him separate. So there was really no cost into him because I was buying the Christmas house. So it sold for $10.80 on the sale, plus shipping, so not bad at all. This one's kind of funny. Tetris. It's a vintage Nintendo game, NES. And we picked it up at a vintage type of market. Sometimes we go to the vintage markets just to see what's like selling. It gives us a good idea what people are looking for by what the sellers at the vintage markets are selling. And they had it for $2, so we grabbed it. It helps us kind of, you can also write off, obviously, mileage and that kind of stuff of being there if you are buying stuff. So we try and usually get something just so that it shows we were there for tax purposes. But also occasionally we luck into some stuff where people make a good deal. One year at one of the vintage sales, somebody had a whole bunch of uranium and glass, and they hadn't even pulled it out. They said they didn't even want to deal with selling it because it wasn't like their thing. But a friend of theirs had given it to him really cheap, so they bought it. So he had like 4 small totes of uranium glass and some pink glass. So he made me a deal, and I bought it for a pretty good deal. Wasn't like a huge deal where I was paying pennies for it, but I was paying only a couple dollars for each. Anyways, sometimes as a reseller, going to the vintage market is great because not only do you get an idea of what is selling, but you can sometimes find things, especially people have things that they don't want to sell. It's out of their genre, or they just want to get rid of it. This item we bought for $2. It sold for $9.90 on a sale plus shipping, so not bad for it. Another video game. This is Super Mario Galaxy for the Nintendo Wii. This one took a little longer just because it didn't have the manual with it. When they're complete, they sell better than when they're missing parts, but they still sell if they're missing stuff. The manuals themselves don't really matter as much as they used to because they don't tell them anything. It's just more for looks or whatever. But we picked it up at a yard sale. I think I bought a Wii and then a whole bunch of games with it. And so I paid like a couple bucks for each game. And this one sold for $12.60. So this is a classic example of not all Mario games are worth it. I still obviously bought it because for like $2, Mario's a big name and they always sell. But you kind of have to look because not all Mario games sell for high dollar. Everybody gets in their head that if it's a Mario game, you need to buy it. And that's not necessarily always true. This one is Ray Done. It's a Yum container just for like leftovers or something. I've talked about this before. Ray Done kind of doesn't sell. It's not as collectible anymore. I don't pick them up. This is kind of leftover of what I still have of Ray Done that I'm getting rid of. So I think originally I only paid like $2 for it, and it sold for $9.90 on the sale. So still making a profit, good overall, not losing anything, but they just don't sell for the prices they used to, and they don't move fast either. This one I've probably had for like over a year. I bought this right before everything slowed down. This one's cute. It's a Looney Tunes Christmas ornament. It's Bugs Bunny in a sleigh. And this one's a new old stock as well. I bought a whole bunch of these at an estate sale. And I think I paid like $2 a piece for them because they were new old stock. Looney Tunes is one of those that they sell pretty good. They don't sell for like high dollar. But there's like a following of people that like the Looney Tunes stuff, so they'll buy it. This one sold for $11.50 on an offer plus shipping. This one's kind of funny. This is a brass horn Christmas ornament. I picked these up. I thought like brass does really good sometimes. I've sold a couple brass things and they've sold really fast, and then I have other brass things that just sit. So it's kind of weird how they work. But I bought a whole bunch of them as like a lot, and I think I paid like less than $1 a piece because there was so many of them. And it sold for $11 on an offer. I kind of went back and forth negotiating, and it's actually going to Italy. So that's kind of one of the reasons it was negotiating was obviously they have to pay all the shipping fees and all the other taxes and tariffs and stuff. So it can be expensive international, but Good news is my international shipping is still going. Garfield game. I've talked about these before. I love games, vintage board games. They're right up there with Christmas for me. This one I picked up. I'm just making sure I keep everything in bags and I keep everything all separated so that it's not a big mess when they open it. I generally don't pay more than a couple of dollars for these. I pick them up at thrift stores or I pick them up at estate sales. And I just know that if I pay $2 and it's only worth like, $10 or something, then I'm good. Most board games you can at least get $10 out of. So that's just kind of a given if you don't want to be looking up uh, prices all the time, is to know that if you're getting it for $2 and it's a vintage board game and it's complete, then you're probably going to be good. Sometimes the games, you have to look at them to figure out if they're complete, so it can take a minute longer. This one I probably paid $2 for. It had some writing on it and stuff like that, so I just disclosed that, the condition of it, and it still sold for $18 plus shipping. Another board game. This one is Sink the Fleet. This one's kind of fun. It's missing one of these, but it's kind of a funny game, like drop the little balls or something. I don't know how it works. I thought it would be worth a little more. Once again, I only paid $1 for it and it sold for $10. So that's why I only pay $1 or $2 for board games, is then I know that I will at least make a decent profit off of them. They're fun. They're fun to sell. And people like finding their old board games that they had as a kid to be able to play with their kids or their grandkids. And last item that sold, it's this leaded crystal Christmas tree ornament. I got a lot of these, a whole bunch of them in a box, and I think I paid like around $1 a piece for them. Wasn't sure if I wanted to lot them up or what I was going to do for them, but I decided to sell them individually, and they've been selling pretty good. This one sold for $9.99 on the sale, so I can't complain. It's a good profit on it. They're not ones I probably would have picked up had I not had like them in a lot with a whole bunch of other things. So all right, guys, that's all the fun items that sold this week. Some of them sold faster than others, and some I enjoy selling more than others. The things that sold in the last day or two, they were not any really high dollar stuff, but they were all kind of the bread and butter stuff. So make sure that you're getting both high dollar and some bread and butter, and make sure you're always like getting your inventory up to what you want it to be. So thanks for watching. Leave any comments of anything else you want to see in the future.